Hey, this is Tournament Takeaway, and I'm Fish on a Heater, the world's best mediocre battler. This is a series where we take a look at a PvP battle and break it down into little pieces, see what we can learn from all the little parts that make up the whole, and take into future battles to hopefully become better battlers. Today we're going to look at a buzzword that has been plaguing the PvP world for the last few weeks, and that is the word desync, because we needed a term that was a little more official sounding so that it gave legitimacy to the term lag, which I say completely in jest, of course, because I have absolutely been guilty of claiming desync lost me my games. Anyway, we're going to take a look at basically a battle and work out how much desync actually affected the game. This is a game against an opponent called Ice Savager, who is in our Go Stadium lobby. I believe he made it to the Asia Pacific Continental Championships for the Silver Arena, so he is a good egg. But despite that, we are actually, by the look of it, probably the closest ranked I've ever had out of anyone that I've featured on these videos. Little interesting tidbit. Anyway, here's the battle. It's a Sorcerer's Cup battle. So Silver Arena did their oh, I really hope you can't hear that dog next door. Sounds real unprofessional. Silver Arena did their reworked metas from previous months. Sorcerer's Cup being one of them. Here's how the battle played out. And because I'm just using for this particular video, I'm using real cheap inbuilt Windows software, so I'm gonna have to quickly undo that and put it back up again. There we go. Just like their cheap inbuilt video editor. So, anyway, we obviously had the great start with the Noctowl versus the Beedrill. They fire one Poison Jab and then switch out to the Frostlass, and we built up a little bit more energy before bringing in our Azu. We get to the play rough at the same time as they get to their Shadow Ball, and in Pogo PvP, the Pokemon with the higher attack stat wins those ties, so they get priority when firing their charge move. It's called, as you might imagine, charge move priority. We fire the play rough. We're now one shield down a piece. And again, we get to that charge move at the same time. So I decide to shield again, figuring that, you know, when I throw my move, we'll either get their second shield and we're back to even, or we're going to feint the Frostlass, which meant that there wouldn't be much standing in the way of our Noctowl. Out comes Beedrill, and I foolishly tried to get up to a play rough here. Foolishly, in part because I was never going to get there, but also because the play rough wouldn't have taken the Beedrill out. I could have, you know, saved that for something better. Obviously, Fell Stinger is going to be equivalent to a Light Breeze to Noctowl, so that's not a worry. But now, this is a worry, because we've got to... Basically, I had to make a choice. Oh, am I going to have the Wigglytuff going in against the Beedrill or the Muck? And I decided to send her to her death against the Muck. And now it's up to Valiant Noctowl to try and save the day for us. You can still see, you know, Savage has still got the shield there. And we valiantly try and wing attack them down before they can get us, but nope, Snarl does the job. So, in my opinion, the problems all started when I brought in the Azumarill. Quick refresher course for those who might not know. I'm pretending here that there's more than like 3 people that watch these videos. So, all of Pokemon Go PvP is measured in turns. They're a unit of time that's equivalent to half a second. So a turn is half a second. So any fast move that you fire takes a certain number of turns. Wing attack on Noctowl takes 2 turns, or 1 full second. Powder Snow on Frostlass takes 2 turns. Bubble on Azumarill takes 3 turns, or a second and a half. And Charm on Wigglytuff does the same, 3 turns. If you had a Hypno, then the Confusion would take 4 turns to fire, or 2 full seconds. That's pretty well known. What is not talked about quite as often is that switching your Pokemon also costs 1 turn to do, and firing a charge move also takes 1 turn. So we often think of charge move as like time freezing. That's not exactly right. It's still taking 1 turn of time to fire that charge move in the scheme of the game, in the run out of the game. So with that in mind, we are going to take a look at this frame by frame, only here on Tournament Takeaway. We're going to start our turn. I'm going to assume that the start of this turn is where that little jump in animation is. Look at him dance. This video is going at 30 frames per second, so that means 15 frames is equal to 1 turn, or half a second. So if we jump forward 15 frames, we go... That's 1 turn. And now, as that second turn was completing, obviously we hit that switch button, and the game is going to complete our fast move before sending in the Azumarill on the next turn. So we start here. It's now starting to switch in that Azumarill. Now that's 1 turn, right? That's all it was. You can see that Noctowl's still going in. What is happening here is that because we've spent that 1 turn switching in the Azumarill, from now it's going to start attacking. Now we're not going to see the Azumarill attacking, but it's going to be attacking. That's 1 turn. So obviously, like we said, Bubble takes 3 turns. We're a third of the way through a Bubble. That's 2. And that's 3. And you can see, even though we haven't seen a Bubble firing at all, you can see that the energy is already appearing on the charge move meter. And if you look at Frostlass's health bar, you can see some orange there where the damage has been applied as well. So we've already fired 1 Bubble, but if we go forward another turn, we haven't done anything else. A whole turn's gone by and we haven't started attacking again. Now, in the next turn, we start attacking. That's 2 turns of the Bubble. And that's 3 turns. So, we had a whole turn. That's where that kind of lag or desync or whatever you want to call it comes in. We fired the Bubble immediately upon switching in, and then nothing happened for a turn, right? And then Frostlass fires its Shadow Ball, so we're just going to speed that back up again. And so after a Pokemon fires its charge move, everything kind of resets from the beginning. So this is kind of turn number 1 of the new wave, new set, whatever you want to call it. We'll start the official turn from when we first see a Bubble appearing. So from there. So if we go, that's 1 turn. 2 turns. That's 3 turns. So our Bubble should have been completed, but you can still see we're kind of halfway through that animation still. It takes another 3 frames before we're ready to start firing more Bubbles. So we're already starting to lag. I mean, that to me is lag in the most genuine use of the term. Like, we are actually lagging behind where we should be. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And we're in the process of jumping back, so that's another 3 turns, 3 frames of laggage. Now we're 6 frames behind. And now you can see a bubble there, so we'll call that the start of the next one. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And this one's a doozy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. It takes 8 extra frames. So added to the 3 and 3 that we had after the last 2 bubbles, that's now we're 14 frames, so that's pretty much a whole extra turn behind. Actually, let's just speed that back up again. And that has cost us the ability to get to our play rough before they get to the Shadow Ball. It's allowed them the time, because while we're lagging, they're still attacking. They're still getting that energy. So they've managed to get to that charge move at the same time as us, rather than us getting there first. And the game gives them priority. And it happens again. Weirdly. We get to that charge move at the same time. And this one's even weirder. If we pause there, you can see that's another powder snow coming through. So, with the way those turns work and the whole interaction of fast moves and charge moves, we kind of think of a charge move as freezing time. Like I've said, that's not exactly the case. I would look at it as more of the charge move's warp time. So if Frostlass fires its charge move at the same time as I start firing a bubble, that bubble, which usually takes 3 turns to complete, the game will grant me the energy and the damage from that bubble after just 1 turn. I don't need the second and third turn for that. So we're both choosing a particular action in that turn, and their action is the charge move, my action is the bubble, and the bubble will automatically complete. Now, because of the lag we were getting there, when Frostlass fired its charge move, we were still on turn 2 of our bubble, of our 3-turn move. So the game, it seems like the game took that 3rd turn as the moment that Frostlass was firing her Shadow Ball, which meant that when the Shadow Ball completes, that's the equivalent of everything resetting, and so that's a whole other turn, and in that turn I'm firing my charge move, and Frostlass is firing another powder snow. So if Savager had opted to use that shield to keep that Frostlass going, it would have been one step closer, one fast move closer to getting the next Shadow Ball. The last play rough we tried to fire, we didn't have that problem. It viewed it as a genuine CMP, charge move tie, so as soon as the Shadow Ball finished, it went straight into our play rough. But on the second go around, or the 3rd time it was firing its Shadow Ball, I've lost track now. On this time we're looking at now, according to the game, I haven't hit that play rough yet. So I'm halfway through a bubble, Frostlass fires its Shadow Ball, and that's all it knows. And then once the game restarts, I've then got to hit the play rough button again to tell the game, hey, what are you doing? Pull your finger out. we've got a charge move to throw. So those I counted probably about 2 turns worth of laggage there, and that's kind of the difference that it made. I took a look at pvpoke.com, and I punched those situations in to the simulator. I gave it 2 shields apiece, and I only bothered with Play Rough and Shadow Ball on the Pokemon because that's all they were using. If we go down here, I've also given Frostlass, it was 40 energy of a 40 energy head start, because that's, you know, how many powder snows it had thrown before the Azumarill came in. And this is the wrong screen. This one here. So this is what's meant to happen. So obviously, if everything's all fair and, you know, as it's promised to be, we're firing that. Every circle you see here is a tap of the screen, and every coloured square is where the damage and energy applies, right? So we've tapped the screen for a bubble. On the 3rd turn, the damage and energy applies, and then on the next turn we tap the screen again, and on the 3rd turn, damage and energy applies. So those 4 symbols there represent 6 turns in total. And then we tap the screen again, and that's when Frostlass is firing a charge move. And once that charge move finishes, the damage from that previous tap. If you're still watching this, by the way, kudos to you, because you're a proper PvP geek. There's not many people who can listen to this and watch this the whole way through and think, and think like, oh yeah, that's a very interesting point that you make. I'm intrigued by your discoveries. So yeah, we've tapped it here, and then the damage has come through here at the same time as we're tapping for the next bubble, and so on and so forth. Because, you know, in this situation now, damage and energy is applying as promised. We are getting to that Play Rough before the Frostlass gets to the Shadow Ball, right? So we spend one of their shields, they spend one of our shields, we're getting to that Play Rough before they get to their next Shadow Ball. We've opted not to shield this second Play Rough just because Savager didn't in the real game, and that's meant that Frostlass has fainted. Even if, you know, even if he had decided to shield it, that's still better than what we had, because now it's like, we're both down both of our shields. Like, if my Noctowl had come in against that muck at the end of the game, and it hadn't had a shield to hide behind, then I'm pretty sure I would have won that one. But here's what actually happened. So these little dotted lines here represent waiting. So that's when the Pokemon doesn't do anything, it's just sitting there for a turn, right? So the full circle is a tap, the dotted line is a wait. So we came out, did one bubble, and then nothing happened for a turn. And then in the next turn we started firing again. The Frostlass fired its Shadow Ball, which we didn't shield, and then we're going again as normal. And then we both get to our charge move at the same time, and as we've discussed, because Frostlass has a whole 28 more attack than us, the Frostlass goes first, then we fire ours, and then I've also put another dotted circle here to represent that lag that kind of built up to be the equivalent of a full turn. So basically, after 3 bubbles, we were the equivalent of a full turn behind at that point, and that has allowed the Frostlass to get to another Shadow Ball and then throw another. I couldn't get it exactly right because here it says that it's thrown 2 more Powder Snows, where in reality it just threw 1 more. But either way, we've had to spend both of our shields, where in that first one we only had to spend 1. So that if I'd had an extra shield to spare, then I might have been able to, if not faint down the muck with my Wigglytuff. I probably wouldn't have, but even if we didn't, my Noctowl would be able to finish the job there, and then all he's got left is the Beedrill against my Noctowl. It's game over at that point. So definitely made a difference there. I didn't raised the point with him at the time, because it took me a long time of sitting here and studying this video, watching it frame by frame to actually properly work out what was going on. At the time, it just seemed like I got my ass handed to me. Now that I know this, I'm just glad I'm kind of armed with that information. At the time of recording this, Niantic have received an impassioned letter from a lot of the leaders of the Pogo PvP community, and have responded saying, hey, thank you for that feedback, we've taken it, we'll get together with our developers and we'll have some sort of answer for you by the end of next week, which kind of dates when I've recorded this. But yeah, I can't wait to see what they say about it, what they do about it. Just this morning I was doing some GBL battles, and I felt like I noticed there was less of that laggage. Kind of the 3-turn moves didn't feel as heavy and hard to get out. So I don't know, maybe they've done something yet, but I probably shouldn't say too much more, because you know, this video is being recorded on a very different date to when it's being uploaded. This could probably be absolutely irrelevant by the time it goes up. Here's hoping that's not the case. If you like the video, please do me a favor, share it around, because make sure you share it to people who will actually find this kind of in-depth, granular analysis interesting. But any of the other videos that might appeal to more newer players, I'd love to. I've been doing this for almost a year now, and I'd love to start kind of building a bit of a viewership. I have a Twitch channel. Link is in the description below. Come join me on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and probably Saturday morning. Tuesday and Sunday nights, and Saturday mornings is looking like the third one I'm going to add to that list. And I hope to see you in the next video.